the Blockchain Summit and I'm here with Lex Goetz. What do you expect from the conference?
I would like to meet with fellow investors to exchange ideas. Get a direction in which blockchain programs or blockchain projects are actually heading. That's one thing. Of course, I mean, if you are active in LinkedIn, you know so many people. So actually, I think I now have 6,000 crypto contacts on LinkedIn. And I want to meet them in person. You know, I want to be here, shake hands, and find out who the persons are behind the pictures.
Please evaluate the development of blockchain industry in your country. What is it like in Austria? I've heard that actually in Austria you could buy a Bitcoin in a vending machine just like a can of Coke. Is that true?
That's partly true. Actually, yes. Max, a friend of mine, he was really one of the first Bitcoin, how should I say, fans, actively trading. And he built up a company. And it's true, he had the first Bitcoin ATM working in Austria, so you could do that. But actually it's not really widespread service. So it's not like buying a can of Coke, going to the supermarket and just pay with your wallet. So it's not possible, of course. There are a lot of restrictions still.
What kind of restrictions?
I mean, it's my personal opinion. I must really address this to the audience. I think that the whole crypto scene, we're just moving so fast that regulators, especially in Austria, were just flown away by the speed. So they had to come up and, of course, find kind of ways to understand Bitcoin, understand the cryptocurrencies, and define certain rules for it. And this is very hard for regulators, I know that, because I'm in constant contact with them. And they, try to find something, and of course to talk to their colleagues on European level, because it's not just Austria. I mean, we are a great country, but we are one part of the European community. So it must be always addressed to our community if you talk about solutions.
And what is the government's take on blockchain and cryptocurrencies?
It's really hard to say, I must say, because the government itself, I mean, there is a very young person now inside the government doing, I think he's the Minister of Economics, and he has a good understanding of Bitcoin, cryptocurrencies and blockchain, and he pushes forward. Yeah? So he is talking to people all around the world, colleagues of his, and I think that they try to find a good way between regulating the business in a way like protecting people. On the other hand, to not just breaking the flow, which is currently existing, even in Austria.
Does he have many supporters?
Yes. I mean, if you talk about supporters in business, of course he has a lot of supporters, because we all know that blockchain is here to stay, so it's really a part of the future. But if you talk about politicians in Austria or in the European community, it's always like, it's politics. Yeah? There are certain groups, there are certain interests behind, so actually it's 50-50.
And are there any attempts to set regulations from the government?
We have a very strong financial authority, which deals with all kind of banks, insurances, and of course cryptocurrencies. So they are coming up with new regulations along the way, and there are of course already some specialists in terms of bookkeeping and legal advice, which try to deal with them. So it's an active dialogue, I would say.
What do you think yourself? Should it be regulated by governments or not?
As an investor, I must say that I'm well aware that I take risks. Yeah? So if you talk about investors as people who really know what risk is and how to evaluate it, I would say that regulation kills a lot. On the other hand, I mean, you have seen it with Bitcoin. If it gets widespread, like every person in a household could buy then some cryptocurrencies and actually don't know what it is, just hope that it just rises 10 times and that everybody gets rich. Of course, I must say that there should be some regulations done to protect such people.
Yeah, recently there has been like a huge wave of people trying to invest in cryptocurrencies to get quick cash and then just leave. So, do you think this problem will remain in the future?
I'm not a prophet myself. If I would probably invest just in things which will work out. But I think that the whole altcoin market will be cleaned in a way that all those scammy projects will be just swept away. And I think that more and more people understand the technology behind. And if it makes sense in a broad term, I mean in terms of scale and usefulness. Yeah, so I think that yes, there will be bitcoins, there will be Bitcoin, there will be altcoins, there will be investors, but I think that we will see a cleaning very soon.
How does the lack of regulation at the legislative level affect the industry?
But actually it's not a lack already in Austria. So they have a clear understanding and they really try to push rules through the financial authorities. But to be honest, I mean, Austria is well known for skiing, in the Alps and all that kind of stuff. And it still is in terms of cryptocurrency and blockchain. Yeah, so I think that the huge investors, they are looking for different jurisdictions now to find projects. Or they are doing it project by project. So it's not just to look at Austria and find something there. It's actually to follow the news, be in all kind of, and well the Telegram groups, to find out whether the potential new Facebooks are, let's put it this way.
If we talk about pan-European legislation, in your opinion, when can we expect regulatory decisions at this level?
That's even harder to tell. I mean, just look at Malta. They have a very young and enthusiastic government who pushed through bills within the last few years. So from zero to hero in a very short time, which is great. But still, they are one part of the European community, and you can see it here. They are fighting, struggling. Especially, if you want to open a business here, everything is great. You have a great support by lawyers and tax advisors, but still, there is a bottleneck of connecting to banks. And there you can see the European dimension, because banks are actually ruled by the European Commission. So they should really follow a strict course. And you see, so governments doing really great stuff, but on European level, I think it will take around 5 to 10 years to really build a common understanding and a set of rules based on it.
Will such systems as our traditional banking system and cryptocurrencies, will they be able to exist both at the same time?
If we talk about banking, we're not talking about banks. We're talking about huge opportunity and interest groups, which are well connected all over the world and now actually ruling business for I don't know how many 100 years. Yeah? So they are very mighty. And of course, they will whether adapt or be destroyed. And I think that they will choose the way to adapt, introducing blockchain technology step by step. Just look at Ripple. They are not really a blockchain cryptocurrency itself, but they are successfully operating with banks already, so pushing digital currencies. That's the way they are going.
But there is no common opinion on that. People are just divided in opinions on Ripple. I've heard people saying that it's nonsense, it's not going to work, and some people do actually believe in it.
You have to be very precise in looking who says what, because if you talk about those hardcore cryptocurrency guys, Bitcoiners from the first hour, let's call them now, of course, they have an understanding of a completely distributed currency. Yeah, so that's clear. And then of course there comes Ripple, and makes partnerships with centralized bad banks, doing business. Yeah? So of course they are not very happy with that, but I mean they exist, Ripple exists, and I think that they have a bright future in a certain part of the business.